Okay, let's call the meeting, the Delaware County Regional Wastewater Meeting, December 6th, 2023, to order. Penny, roll please.
Josh?
Present.
Joe? Present. Bill?
Yes.
Brenda? Present. Ron?
Here. First order of business, minutes of the previous meeting, November 1, 2023, that were sent out by Penny.
Make a motion to accept them as written. I'll second.
Got a first and a second. Any changes or corrections? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Treasurer's report. Since Pete's not here, I'll read it down. Claims for October 31st, 2023 through November 29th, 2023 totaling $216,752.44. Account balances as of November 29th, 2023, cash operating balance, guess at 420,000. Improvement fund balance, $2,618,067.78. November 23rd, Delville TIF transfer of $9,411, and the Indiana Bond Bank transfer of $30,422.70. If not any questions, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as read. Second.
I have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. We're going to jump. I want to switch her a little bit around. I'm going to let Jennifer talk to us about the Yorktown engagement, and that way you've got all the information as we move forward for the rest of the meeting. So Jennifer, if you would, please.
Very good. I think Jason provided to you the memo that we prepared. We were contracted to look at the Yorktown agreement and recalculate the rate for 2024 and 2025 using that agreement. So there's a lot of details in there. But basically, I'll give you the gist of it. Their operating expenses have gone up by about $100,000. When you flow that through the allocation, the amount that gets allocated to the treatment plant, which you are responsible for, it actually received a little bit higher of that increase of cost. So the costs have gone up about $144,000 allocated to the treatment plant. So fees have gone up over the past years. We do look up inside this report, you'll see at the very end, the CPI for the Midwest region has gone up 7% and 8% or so over the past 2 years. So your rate can go up higher than the minimum of 3% or 5%, I believe. But the other part of this calculation has to do with the amount of flow that's going into the plant. You guys have reduced the amount of flow that's going to the plant because of the project that you did in the Westbrook area. And you got that benefit over the past couple of years of reducing your flow and maintaining the same rate. They have also reduced the amount of flow going into the treatment plant. And so by redoing this calculation, your rate will go from $2.80 to $3.64. But it's not as big of a jump. I mean, that sounds like a big number, that's 30% increase. But when we did the contract back in 2020, you guys were kind of allocated to do $313,000 per year payment to Yorktown. And at the end of this contract, we're calculating you'll be paying $323,000. So in effect, you guys will be paying just a little bit more what we originally anticipated, but you got the benefit for the past couple of years by reducing your volume to them, that you were paying a lower amount. So I open that up for any questions. I tried to summarize all these numbers kind of quickly. Yes, sir.
So when I do look at it, one of the things that the more flow at the plant, we'll say Yorktown flow, the better it is for us, correct?
Correct.
So every like one of the, they have expansion out to the west side of the town and stuff. The more flow that goes through that plant that's not Delaware County flow are part of that.
You're sharing the cost, yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a bigger portion. So we could see cost savings there. If in a perfect world for Delaware County would be to see that plant run at 100%. and we're just not there yet. So although our debt service stays consistent, our percentage of flow right now, it doesn't necessarily match the 89.25% to our 10.75% of our plant capacity. So that's one of the things. If we do get more flow from Yorktown, we could actually, that rate could even possibly go down at a certain rate. I mean, so that's one of the things I want the board to understand too. And the fact that we started this out at 315 and we're going to 364. We just did see that rate reduction for a couple of years, and now it's kind of
Catching up,
catching up, yes.
exactly what it's doing. Does anybody have any questions over this part so far?
Is this is for the year 2024 then, right?
Well,
Are we
it-
gonna expect another one in 25?
According to your
26?
contract, you can adjust this biannually. So
It's been the next
if
2
we're
years.
gonna adjust it for January of 2024, it would be in place for 2024 and 2025 with the next adjustment available to this, to update the contract in 2026.
Okay, so it's for 2 years.
2 years.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Jennifer. You got anything else besides that?
Nope, that was it. But I'll be here if you have more questions later on.
So, we just got it, I mean, we got this kind of report last night, and, I got, Chase's letter to the board, today, and that's in front of you guys. I think one of the things that, since they started out kind of Bank Retilia, then Crow got involved, and this always took place on January 1st. That Yorktown's hope was to get this in front of us and make this, take effect in January as well. So, that letter's in front of you, and that's kind of what they're expecting, and, to go hand in hand when we do get, down to the budget conversation, that difference in cost has been, carried over to the budget as well. So if we can get that, if we move forward with the idea that this is gonna take January 1st, that budget does cover those numbers as well.
Thank you. Chase, would you like to talk? Anything you'd like to say?
I'll be very brief.
Chase Bruton, Yorktown Town Manager. I actually have a meeting I have to be to at 4, so I was coming in just to answer any quick questions you all have for me. I just wanted to thank everybody for being so helpful on this. One, my clerk treasurer was very useful in getting all this data together. Jason's been valuable for me. Obviously, I am not a wastewater person, right? And then Jennifer was very helpful as well. I was very surprised at how quick the turnaround on these numbers were and these calculations, so I appreciate that. That is all I have, unless anyone has any questions for me.
I believe that's it.
I've
Thank
been
you.
great. I've been very happy with the relationship so far, so
Got
thank
it.
you for your help.
Does the board have any other questions or concerns at this time? If not, then I think I need to look for a motion to approve the rate increase. Is that correct? Before we go on, so that then it'll match up with everything else that we're doing within the budget. So I would look for a motion to approve the rate increase as proposed.
I'll make that motion.
I have a first and I have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. You bet.
Have we looked at how that will
Yeah,
affect our rates?
definitely.
Have we done any investigation as to any impact on our rates with this new number alongside this, or is that?
So we originally had got the budget out to Jennifer and, based on the talks with the committee and, with the recent reduction on the other treatment, the third-party treatment. And, one of the comments I got, she had got back to me and stop me if I'm, misstating this at any time. And, with the reduction and the capital improvements we had looked at to put on the, budget as well with some of those savings. And one of the comments she had was she felt like the numbers that me and Penny had kind of originally came up with were a little inflated, and part of that was I was taking into cost. I put a kind of contingency in there based on wet weather flow. So she looked at those, and even before I adjusted this initial treatment for the Westbrook area, she kind of felt like we could cover those, within that, extra contingency on the MSD side and the Delaware side.
Excuse me.
So-
You got it.
So, budget-wise, I think we're still on par with what we're at and gonna be good. And it's not necessarily no increases or anything's needed, so if that was the question, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
And the new one I see that you sent us today, when we get to that point, it's already reflected this.
Yes, correct. Yep.
I
So
see,
that we
I
had-
see
that's
the,
what-
I
that's-
see the difference
That's
in
why
it.
I jumped down there and we went, if we get that, then we're all in line with what he put out to back it up.
Yep.
Okay?
Yes.
All right. Any other questions or concerns on that topic before I move on? Okay, let's go to old business, table in November meeting, CD purchase options.
Back in November, we had originally spoke about, taking some of the improvement fund, purchase CD options. Beginning of November, we had a little bit better rate offered to us by some local institutions. Those rates have since changed. Our local bank has still stayed the same and they're, willing to still offer 5% at, a 15 or 9-month CD option. My recommendation to the board is that we kind of, if, as long as rates would stay the same, that we'd be looking at a $500,000 certificate the first time, and maybe in 6 months or 9 months, I bring it to the board and see if we want to get a rotation going. Or if the board so chooses, then we could do more or less, but that'd be my recommendation. I think one of the things we pointed out with our operating balance was, and we spoke with Jennifer kind of about it, there's no, Indiana Bond Bank doesn't necessarily require us to carry a certain amount of cash on hand to make that, so it definitely $500,000 is gonna be in the safe zone to, we can invest that and then decide in 6 months or 9 months if we wanna go on a different rotation.
I'll open it up to the board for comment or discussion.
Our current bank is what, O&D?
Old National,
On national. And what'd you say it was, 5%?
5%, and that could be 15 or 9.
What is it, 25,000 for 9 months? On half?
$25, yeah.
Well, everybody looking at me. Except Joe, she's running numbers. What would the board like to do?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you're talking about, and I had to take that call.
Sorry.
Saw it come flashing across it.
No, we're talking about the improvement court fund. We're setting on 2.6 million of putting some in a CD.
Buying the CDs.
And getting a $500,000, we could pick up 25,000 on a 9-month CD. Instead of just leaving the money set there, we're not getting anything for it. We don't have any big expenditures.
Bank, which one was it?
Old National, because if we switch banks, we'll have to go through everything. For going through all that, we'll capture maybe $1,200 extra dollars. I don't think it's worth switching a bank for, and we've been pretty good with Old National. So we'd have to change signature cards and all of that. I think that if we do want to move forward, in my opinion would be we would stay at the same bank.
Fees, anything?
No, we just have to go in and it was a minimum of, $10,000.
We have to pay any tax or anything on the interest that we earn?
That would probably, yeah,
Good,
I don't think so.
government, okay,
no.
good. I wish I was tax exempt.
You and me both. I'd be a lot richer.
I can't see a reason why we wouldn't want to make money off the customer's money right now, and that way we're like this, not having to raise.
Well, the way I looked at it, if it stays up and we go through and we rotate and we go with the 9 months again, I mean, $50,000 in a year and a half, look what we did at the improvements at the garage and that. There's things that we can do, and we might as well use that money efficiently and smartly.
Kind of offsets what Yorktown's taking from us.
Exactly.
The rate
Hey, keeps
increases
your rates
too.
down.
Yeah.
Keeps the rates right there, it comes right back to it, comes right to it. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we, purchase the CD from O&B at 5% using, out of the improvement fund balance, investing 500,000. Now, I need to know, 15 or 9 months, what are we gonna do? Do I need that in my proposed motion
Yes, you
also?
would. And both of them are the same,
Both
9
are
or
the same right
15.
now.
9 month gives us.
I would say 9 months, that way we have, access to our money should we need it.
Yep. I second that.
I have a first and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried.
All right, thank you. And I had spoke with, Pete, and he said he'd make himself available, that we could get that handled as soon as possible.
Okay.
New business, Rorton Construction Account, we had paid an invoice to Barnes and Thornburg, kind of sent it out. Kim had asked that we, get that paid before the end of November. We sent that out to the board. We just need to get that ratified, and, it was a $40,000 payment that was, initially figured into the Rorton Construction,
Bond.
yes.
And we all had seen those numbers when we accepted and approved the bond, just so everybody knows, if I'm speaking correctly, is that right?
Yeah, and so we'll have two motions on this one because she did send us the engagement for that. And just out of full disclosure, there's her bond fees and my bond fees. I haven't turned in an invoice for mine yet for the work I did on it. They're not $40,000, so you don't have to worry about that, but it is already calculated into your bond. So after you make a motion to ratify the payment that we had to do early, we also then need to approve her contract for that, because we haven't signed off on that.
Okay, so I need a motion to ratify the $40,000 payment first to approve that.
So moved.
You got a first, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion ratified. Now I need a motion to, approve the engagement letter.
I'll make a motion to approve the engagement letter.
A second.
First and second, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign? Motion approved. Okay,
The next thing that we need to look at is the Commonwealth's, Overlook Drive, bid approval and award. You wanna come up and talk about that, Rob? Copy of, I don't, no. They should, I think it went out from,
yeah, in the packet, you talking about this one, Rob?
Yeah, the one dated November 1st. This one. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
We just didn't get the bid tab.
We've got the,
bid taps.
we got the bid tab,
Yeah.
that's what we got.
I by happenstance opened up the email that my office sent and I realized that they didn't attach the bid tab. So, basically, you know, we opened bids on the Overlook Drive project on October 19th. We had 3 bids that were submitted. SLB, 3D, and JG Case. And their bid amounts are summarized on that first page of the letter. Your apparent low bidder was SLB, at $394, $725. Our estimate was $581. Commonwealth has worked with SLB on other projects, both past and current. We believe that the scope as outlined is basically within their wheelhouse. I don't expect to have any issues with them. We did check references that were provided in their bid. Those came back positive. We have no reason to recommend not moving forward with the apparent low bidder, SLB. And, you know, today I'm here to answer any questions. If there are none, I would request that the board accept our recommendation for tentative award. Once that happens, we'll start working with the contractor, pull together bonds, insurance, construction contracts, get those to Danielle to do a review. And once she signs off on them, we can execute them and get rolling.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You go, of course I do.
I know you do. I was looking, I was prepared.
Yeah.
I know better.
Rob, I was just, curious on the septic tank decommissioning and abandonment, why you, were thinking that it could be so much higher and they came in lower. Were you expecting something that they might not have seen in their bids?
Not necessarily. I think this is just a case of they prioritize their profit and other line items as opposed to that one. That's gonna be something that's gonna be done on the tail end. And we're gonna get paid for it at the tail end of the project, and contractor's gonna wanna try to collect as much money as they can on the front end. We
I didn't
can't,
know
we
if that
can't,
would be an extra or something
No.
at the end or something.
I mean, it's pretty matter of fact in the scope of work. The requirements come straight from the health department as to what's required for that. But none of that work can be performed until the new system is online and operational. So my expectation is it's just the way that they assembled their bid and they front end loaded it.
Okay,
Any other questions or concerns? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we, accept the bid of SLB Pipe Solutions, Inc. for a bid total of $394,725.
I have a first. Do I have a second? I have a first and a second. Any further discussion? Questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried.
Once we have the bonds and insurance and contracts, everything put together, Danielle's reviewed them, I'll get with Jason and we'll schedule a pre-construction meeting.
Thank you.
Uh,
2024 budget.
yeah, I sent that out, I think it was on two Thursdays ago.
Yep.
2 Thursdays ago to the board and, looked for comment. I didn't have anything back. The only change from, I said earlier, the only change from what originally went out based on the recommendation of the, Finance Committee and myself is that change that we just recently have with the Yorktown treatment rate. So, we need to look at getting this approved and willing to answer any questions and comments right now.
Did everybody get a chance to review? There's been plenty of time. Any questions or concerns on the 2024 budget at this point?
I think one of the, I could kind of continue, one of the big changes is there is a, 4%, wage and salary increase. One of the big things with we're about $600,000 less than last year's budget, taking into account that we don't have a building purchase on there. But we also did add, $225,000 worth of, capital improvements to the budget. So majority of that being lift station work, I&I removal that will be contracting out every year moving forward. And, then, what else panel work. So we did take $500,000 away, but with those cost savings, we've also added an additional $225,000. So,
The 41 underneath that, Jason, is that for pumps or the machinery and equipment? Since you said panels in the top one, and the improvements in the other, I wasn't quite sure if that was building or,
oh, no, that, in case we have that, in case of truck, major malfunction, we've used it before to purchase office equipment, anything that was like over the $5,000 mark.
gotcha. Any other questions? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
A second to approve, I took that.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second, it was on the committee, but I will second it.
Okay.
Under Jason.
You got it.
Good leading, good leadership on this one.
Yes, you did. All right. Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion approved.
All right, kind of go hand in hand with that, we need to, present, the 2024 salary ordinance. That also went out a couple of Thursdays ago, along with Penny's packet this past week. Now, the only change since, Danielle looked over it and per her contract that's already been approved, I think the original paralegal fee was $75. It's $95 now, and that was approved this past year. So Danielle updated that, and that's the one that will need to get signed, so.
So that's on page 2. I just changed the 75 to a 95, and that was already in the contract we signed for this year and next year. So we don't negotiate my contract until the following year. Everything else was the same, and it's 2023-04, I think. Motion, the motion to introduce.
Make the motion to introduce salary ordinance.
I'll second. Any questions or concerns? Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion approved. Do we, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we want to suspend, do we need to, or go to the next one? I'm asking you as an attorney, do we need, or can we go to next meeting, or do it? I guess we don't, it's per 2024, isn't it? So I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll second that. Oh, well, I'll
No,
make the
just-
motion to suspend the rules.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion is proper for suspending the rules. We need to do this by roll call. Penny?
Josh,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Linda, Brian.
Yes. I would now entertain a motion to adopt.
I'll make a motion to adopt the 2024 salary ordinance. Is that 2023-04? Is that the number of it?
I'll make a second.
I got a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion approved.
All right, another item that we need to address is, it went out in Penny's board packet, is uncollectible debt.
Somebody else got it.
Okay, you want me to go over?
I can start them and then I know you've got probably more detail than me, but I think we've got two. The first one is, and I'll do them separate so we can do two different motions. Gerald Matchett, this is $11.73. It was a partial bill that was never satisfied out on 8705 West Redbud Lane.
Deceased as well.
That's what I'm saying. He passed away actually in 2020.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have to make a motion to do
To
that?
write it off.
Okay.
That would be my recommendation.
How much was the amount?
$11.73.
Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Got a first? I've got a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Approved. Next one?
All right, the second one is for 3203 East Winwood Drive. This is Janice Lowry. And the total on this one is $524.42. 200 was a cap-off fee, $50 was a lien fee, and $274.42 was the sewage bill. It looks like what happened is the same day the property sold was the same day we took this to put a lien on it, so it didn't catch it.
They got it out before the lien was attached. I wonder, it's like, okay,
Yeah, they happened on the same day.
As well as deceased, yeah.
And 2019 is when she passed. So,
I'd entertain a motion.
I will make a motion for the, writing off of the debt of $524.42 for Janet Lowry.
I will second.
First and second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion approved.
And the last one, didn't get on the agenda, but I, sent out my, my director's report, at the beginning of the week here. I, need to get approval, or we can have discussion on it as well. I have a quality, repair quote to get a new electrical panel installed at the Glen Lift Station over in the Westbrook, area. That, repair quote, sums up to $11,324. That's gonna come out of the Westbrook, contractual services, line item in the budget. And, that panel was originally, 20-plus years old. It's been scabbed together multiple times. I'm just at the point right now where, like I kind of stated in the email, I don't have an accurate schematic on it. It's causing kind of some alarm issues and just normal maintenance and repair issues as well. So it's gonna be the same story as we did in Delville. They'll come in, put a new panel, new schematic, come in, everything, wire everything up for us, and that was the second part of the charge for that installation fee of adding up to that 11,324.
Full disclosure before you go, I've asked Jason if there was money left in 2023. There is. Do we go ahead and purchase this now and pay for it in 2023, so it does not affect the 2024 budget?
That was gonna be my question.
I
Can we get
verified
it
it.
off the books this year?
Yep,
while
I
we had
verified it with the
expenditures?
attorney
Yeah.
that we were good to go, so I would like to take this off the 2023 budget, not affect the 2024 budget, so you have for full disclosure.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we get that done.
I've got a first.
A second.
I've got a first and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Approved. Jason, you jumped all the way up and down. Rorick's and construction account at the top. Was there anything? The Barnes and Thornburg, I know we got that. Is that all that needed under that?
That's so far, other than, Danielle kind of speaking on her invoice that's gonna come to us. We've already got, crows processed, and, we haven't had one from Commonwealth yet, outside of the normal, pre-construction
Okay.
engineering costs, so.
More to
it's just-
come.
It's just that one right now. We'll probably have, looks like Danielle's and, possibly, Rob's been,
We'll probably have one for
Yeah.
next month.
Next
he's
month?
kind of, getting lighting a fire under him right now I think probably we're gonna look at is we're gonna start ordering materials and, start invoicing us when that comes. And we'll get a start date and we'll start going from there.
You got it. Okay. Jason, it looks like you're still up. Collections update?
Collections update. Last month, we were setting at 2,319.14 over the entire collections area. Anything 60 days or over past due. Right now, we're at $849.56. There was 2 properties disconnected, 3 reconnected in the month of November. And to go hand in hand with that, I don't know if I said this, both those properties that we just written off, accounts for, they're both been online and new
Okay.
customers in them, so they are active. That is where collections fell, and I think that's all I got. I think we pretty much hit on everything else.
Danielle, it would be your turn.
We did cover almost everything throughout already, but we implemented the office implemented the collection letters that we've discussed at the last meeting or two. Davey sent me a spreadsheet, and I forgot to count exactly how many, 20 some went out maybe. There were a couple handfuls, and I think over 10 of them,
Yeah.
he said, have paid. I personally got a couple of calls from 2 people. One ended up being the wrong person with the exact same name. His email was cute, but I suppose that doesn't need to be discussed on the record. Then I had a gal that was very sweet. They had closed on their house in 22 and thought everything was paid. There was like a $97 balance. Davey ended up, I told the lady I would just double check and make sure our system was accurate because she was really surprised it didn't pick it up, but they did pay it. They immediately paid when they got our letter. So that part of it, I think, has been very effective. And it turns out we had a glitch in the system and she was right, they didn't owe it. So we're refunding her $97 back to her. But all in all, just from hearing from Jason, Penny, Davey, and then the couple of contacts I've had, I say they are extremely effective. So good work on those. Cleaning up some, even though, $97 account, they're cleaning up stuff that needs.
It's come off the books.
Yeah, exactly.
The only other thing I have that we've kind of followed over, Jennifer, I'm so glad you're here, is an update on Chesterfield. If by chance, and you can wait till your portion, it's not necessarily something I have to report on because I'm kind of still just in a holding pattern of waiting to hear back on. That from the meter. Yeah,
So we're waiting.
we're gonna have to
Do we need to initiate
Something's
something,
gotta,
from the attorney, or would that be the better
I-
way?
well, I carried
or
this
do-
over on my notes for at least 12 meetings, I would say. I mean, we're going on a good year of reaching out to them, and then they'll say they'll get back to us. And a couple times they have reached out, and I'll let Jennifer talk a little more about that, but I feel like this is one I'd like to get off of my list. It's not that much money that we're owed, and there's
Is
no
this the
reason.
adjustment for we're still
Yeah.
on?
Yeah, so my recollection, is
Yeah.
that they closed on their debt, and so they actually have actual numbers now, and it's to your benefit that we put in a new exhibit to the agreement, because the actual amount that they closed on is lower than what was in the proposed. So, yeah, when we recalculate it, we say that you guys are actually owed money, and it keeps accruing every single month that goes by. I can't remember when I last emailed
And I
them,
wanna say
but.
we were a couple $1,000s.
Yeah.
At the last time. My thought is maybe if Jennifer can get me an updated number, I say we send it off to Tom Beeman and their district also. And, you know, at this point, my opinion is they're breaching their contract. And I realize it's not a lot of money, but they don't get to just keep our money either.
Question, is this something that we could send the letter over with a timestamp or a date, say at the end of February? If not, in the March bill, we'll reduce theirs by that and send them a check over the bill they send us. It's our money. Can we, if they're not, I mean, we've been over a year.
And
I'm
I've
just
sent
asking.
letters
I don't
to
know.
their council, and we pretty much get nothing.
But if we don't get none, if we send that and say, if we don't receive a note or done by the end of February on our March, whatever they bill us, we'll reduce it by that number and we'll send that check in. And we'll
My
attach a piece of that
opinion is-
paperwork and send it with it.
Into January, we'll reduce February.
How's the
They've
board
had
feel
over
about
a
that?
year.
I feel good about that.
I mean, it's ours, we've been over a year, and now it's in, it's done. Let's send the letter, let's put the date at the end of January. If we don't receive it, then we'll reduce the amount in the February bill, attach the letter and send it, and we'll let it play out from
And
there.
I think we had even told them we were fine to make, you know, small credits. Well, I mean, we weren't opposed to any way they wanted to work it
back to
out
us,
either.
right.
But at this point,
I agree,
this is just silly to me.
I agree. I say we move on from there. Yeah, we don't need a motion, you can handle that,
Yeah, I think that I'm fine just doing that because we've already addressed this multiple times. in
I
our
say,
board meetings.
multiple times. Okay. Anything else? I didn't hear you.
Oh, yeah, nope, sorry, I'm done.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure before I said something.
Nope, nope.
Ashley,
That's all I have.
the floor is cleared for you, dear. I just wanted to make sure.
I thought you were. Sorry.
So for November was a month of updating more holiday hours. So we did add the 2024 holidays that were approved that you will be closed. So those are on the website. We let people know that you guys were closed for Veterans Day, for Thanksgiving, for the Friday after Thanksgiving, and Election Day. Your Google listing is doing very well. Would kind of love to see a report I'm not sure that that's possible, but to kind of see how many more people are paying online than maybe used to be. I don't know if we've seen an increase over the past year, but that would be something that would be kind of interesting to see if we're actually seeing more people paying online than were paying online last year. We sent out the email. This time we had a few more unsubscribers than we typically have, but that's okay. We're still getting people to open up those emails. We're adding the posts on social media, so not sure if there's any questions.
The only one I had was, we've got updates out on Norton and Overlook. Have we sent them out on the website?
I can get with her now that we've actually tentatively awarded a contractor and we can release that and the project amount. Hold up in Rorton is just trying to, I mean, there's really, we've released who the winner is with bracketing and everything like that. Until we get a tentative start date, which Commonwealth's working on right now, it's kind of here and there.
Because we get preliminary schedules,
Yeah,
And
I'll get them to Jason.
we've done a good job of getting the information out to our users, but the Rorton one, Overlook, just to notify, but the Rorton one, I don't know if that's gonna involve, the school traffic or any of that. That's why I guess I was really, when we have, I like to get that out for the parents. If we're gonna create a situation there, I wanna be ahead of it and not behind it.
Other than getting a start date for that, I have notified the board, over in Delville, that we plan on awarding that, today and moving forward, and I do have a couple, probably out of the 11 or 12 residents, probably 5 or 6 have asked for updates. It seems like a handful of them are seasonal, and will go south for the winter, but I don't necessarily know if we're gonna get ourselves into a situation where we start doing any boring here come winter.
Gotcha.
I know from my perspective, each month, over half of the people that get emails open, which doesn't seem like a lot, I guess, when you say it like that, but if you've got 1,300 customers and over 700 are opening the emails, I think that's huge for as small of a district as you guys have, and only 7 people, I think, unsubscribed.
Yeah, and
And
this
even though
month it's
that's more
7.
than usual,
It's still small.
I can't believe that only 1 or 2 do when they get it. So I think, I don't know, I think I'm serious. Just in
No, I know you
general,
are. I'm
because
not
people
laughing.
don't
I
like
agree with you.
emails sometimes when it's not, coupons for your favorite store you shop at or something like that. So I think that says a lot about what Ashley has done with the website and the marketing and the things that you guys are pushing out.
Can you tell Ashley how many people actually watch our meeting? I mean, it's obvious that they aren't
Attending.
possibly able to attend in person or just don't care to, but can you tell the clicks on how many watch?
So on the actual YouTube channel, so like the August board meeting had 27 views, the September board meeting had 8 views, the October board meeting had 19 views, and the November board meeting had 11 views.
We're boring.
I'm glad we have some interest.
We got some.
Even though I think I
We're
was one
boring.
of those people.
We're boring.
Can't stay away when you're gone.
Deduct one.
All right. Anything else for Ashley from the board? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
All right, seeing that one. Rob, do you have anything further at this point?
Nothing that hasn't already been addressed.
I've got a question.
We're to the board, ma'am.
Whatever happened to the guy who was in here raising a barrel of stink over,
Oh,
Country Village?
I'm glad you said that. I totally spaced, we went out there the very next day,
Who went? I
yeah.
didn't know that part, but
cambered our line, cambered his line. Unfortunately, he wasn't there that day. His father-in-law was. So, I don't know if when Country Village was developed, it was developed outside of the district even being involved. District took ownership of that, those lines and everything. His sewer line does cross the property line right in front of a oak tree. And when he expressed that he had put a new sewer line in, he went straight up to that property line. And where we're still not, in, responsibility at is just because of the way the developer done those lines. He had a huge, dip in his line. Now, when I was out there, it wasn't holding muck or anything like that, but it was a big
got some
enough
bellies in there.
big enough belly in there where my camera's completely underwater.
Oh.
Went to our line and ran it all the way out. Now the house right next door to him never expressed any concerns about sewers backing up or anything. When you have any type of old clay pipe, you're gonna have hanging roots that just are normal. I kind of expressed it to the committee earlier. Almost like a beard hairs that you're gonna see at every joint, but nothing that is obstructing flow and going to the next manhole. But in my opinion, that belly is definitely causing issues where they stop the going out further to the line. I pinned that in his yard, flagged it and everything, and called the gentleman and told him what we had found and what I thought it was. He didn't like what I had to say and, told me he was gonna get an attorney, and I haven't heard from him since.
That's what I was, because I know you were very good about calling me the next day when
Yeah.
you'd been out there. But I was wondering if he'd done anything since then.
Yeah,
So he claimed he had pictures when he was here. We asked for those. He didn't provide anything. I told Jason today, I want him to reach out to Roto-Rooter just to confirm whether these pictures exist or not. And then that way, if he does get an attorney involved, that at least I have the all of the information to be able to have a discussion with that attorney.
Oh.
You know, if they existed, I would imagine we'd have had them.
and I'll be truthful, Scott works a lot closer with, whenever a guy comes on site, like any of these plumbing companies, he's generally our first point of contact, and I've had this conversation with Scott, and he's talked with Roto-Rooter, and they have said kind of the same thing we have. Unfortunately, if you kind of learn when you go out to these, houses and they're having issues, the plumbers generally like to say if they can't fix it right on site, that they wanna throw stink on us. And after TV in the line, that's not the case here. I explained to, Rob that if I could give him all that he wanted and it would fix his line, I would present that to you guys, that without going up in his line, I mean, in his yard and repairing his own sewer line, I don't think we remedy his issues. So it wasn't what he wanted to hear, and he was unhappy about that. Scott has talked with Roto-Rooter when they've been on site a couple times, and kind of the same consensus that, I mean, it is what it is.
Understood.
Like I said, you're not, again, in my opinion, you're not gonna, when he told us he was out there, had Roto-Rooter out because he was backed up, then 3 weeks later, they're out there again because he's backed up. That doesn't indicate a root issue. That indicates your line's mucking up and it's holding solids.
Yep.
So if I do get word from him and outside of, well, even him again or an attorney, I'll let the board know.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Anything else from the board at this time? With that said, I do want to say one thing, just in case, because I don't want to make sure that it goes out. We have one open board seat. Rest of us will be here in January. So Joe, hopefully you will be back in January, but if not, I want to take the opportunity to say thank you. It's been a pleasure. We've done really good as a board together, and I'm glad to have you on. Hopefully, you're still sitting in that seat in January.
Oh, I hope to be.
There you go.
Council meeting is the 12th.
It's the 12th.
You guys wanna come and support?
I have already talked to council members, so any of the rest of you that would, please voice your opinions. The only other thing we have, in January, we have election of officers. That'll be our first thing of duty in January. Other than that, if there's nothing else,
Ray.
hang on.
Ray too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
I just want all of us to think about Ray,
Yeah.
with his surgery and everything, so.
Okay, what did I miss?
Ray's having a knee replacement tomorrow.
Well, if you ever came,
I missed one meeting. I'm sorry, I was in the middle of an ocean and my wife, I didn't know he was having his knee replaced. Okay,
That today, he's having some tests ran, then, yeah, definitely thinking about Ray.
okay, exactly.
Then additional to that, and I had sent it out to the board, I miscalculated the days I was gonna be out of the country, and I won't be back till the
Good
the
save.
night of the 3rd, which is gonna be our board meeting day. So I had conversations with Bill today, and if you guys are comfortable, if we could possibly look at pushing it to the very next day, the Thursday, when I would be available, or,
January 4th, Thursday,
But it's 2024, not 23.
Right,
since it says on the
2024.
paper.
do any of the board members see an issue? We go at 3 o'clock on the Thursday, the 4th, just for the first meeting of the year. Seeing none, I say, do we need a motion to change that from,
well, I'll say this too, Sarah wasn't in the office today, and we haven't been able to actually secure the room, but, my hopes is that we can get it for that Thursday. So if anything changes outside of that, we'll let the board know too.
even if we have to bump over to another.
we can go to this, we can go to conference room too if we have to.
Fine.
Yeah, we can go to the second floor. So with that, I need a motion to change just the first one from January 3rd, Wednesday, January 3rd to Thursday, January 4th.
I'll make a motion that we move the meeting to January 4th, Thursday.
I got a first. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
I'll abstain.
So
I don't
moved.
know if I'll be here.
So moved.
I will stick it on somebody else.
Is there any other business before the board? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Yay.
First, second. Who's second?
No one.
I'll
You guys
second.
staying?
There you go.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
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 And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All-